Catalin, good morning. Hello, hello. What's going on, man? Ram, Barcelona Ram. Hello. Ram question, what's your all-time favorite cheat meal? Oh, goodness. Favorite cheat meal. Whew. I don't really know, man. Like, I don't know if it's a meal, but what I love to eat is ice cream. I love ice cream. Most of the time when I'm eating ice cream, the only reason I stop is because, well, it's time to stop, not because I've had enough. I could bloody eat ice cream all day. And that is nuts, isn't it? Oh man, it's so good. Oh man. Any specific flavor? um, I'm like one of the weirdest people you'll ever meet when it comes to ice cream, man. Um, I'm pretty sure I eat ice cream not because of the flavor, it's because of the nostalgia. I honestly think that when we came to Australia, we came from a war-torn country, um, and when we came here for the first time, we were getting shown around by the social worker, and we went to Foodland, one of the shops here in Adelaide, in Australia. I don't think they exist anymore. And people are pushing their trolleys around, and I remember seeing a bloody whole tub of ice cream for sale, and my parents bought it. Um, and it was the most surreal thing for me ever, man, to see that much ice cream. Everything's being bought in bulk, man. Like, that's nuts. Difference, coming from a war-torn country to a prosperous country. And the first ice cream we bought was like the cheapest one, right? It's called Neapolitan. Neapolitan, I think that's what it's called. That's how we called it anyway. And that's when I was like 9 years old. And so from that moment on, I always loved that ice cream. And everyone tells me it's the worst ice cream ever. But it's the one that has 3 flavors. It's got chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. Only the vanilla is like good by many other people's standard. But I love eating that. I love eating that, and it's because of nostalgia as a kid, and brings me back memories and brings me back all that stuff, and I love it. And sure, I've tried all these new fancy flavors and all that, choc chip this, that, blah, blah, blah. Sorbet this, sorbet that. But for me, it's that ice cream, man. I love it. Falcao, hello, man. What's going on, man? Neapolitan from Bilo was the best. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I loved it. And I bring it up quite often, like when people talk about cheat meals and your favorite meals and whatever. I say my 2 cents, and they're like, "What the hell? Like, what the hell are you talking about? That's not a choice." And I love it, man. and that is a killer. Oh man. Nice position, you reckon, eh? Oh. Ugh. Um, yeah, man. Different part of the world, man, isn't it? Completely opposite side of the globe. How do I keep rust away? Oh, rust. I assume rust. Why do things rust? I'm just thinking water, right? We don't get snow here. We don't get huge humidity here. Maybe that's why things don't rust. I mean, some things do rust a little bit, but like, it's not too bad. I've only just gotten these 4 pieces, but like my squat rack, bars, everything's fine. Like it doesn't rust. Like none of this stuff is like exposed steel. Like everything's been covered, you know, either rubber coated plates or painted plates, you know. And rust takes a while, right? Like rust doesn't happen overnight. It takes a while. Yeah, Australia is so far. We always talk about it, you know. Um, Australia is so isolated, man. It's so far. Like even within Australia, like you're talking hours to get to different towns. Um, you know, if you want to fly to Melbourne, it's like whatever, hour and a half, 2 hours flight. No, it's not 2 hours, it's about an hour. Everything's just far. And we don't get the luxury of just like popping over, you know, to Italy or popping over to Switzerland, like you know, like it used to be back in the day, living in Europe. It's all kind of like very close, and you can literally visit multiple countries in one day, man. You know, and America is probably similar to the way Australia is. It's like so big and isolated, but like America's got 350 million people, if not more now. So it's huge. Australia's only 20 million, man, 25 or whatever it is now. So it's a small country, huge place, very isolated, away from the main part of the world, like which is the West. Um, I don't know if that's the main part of the world, but at least for me, Europe has always been the main part. Man, I bought a deadlift bar. I'm excited. Ooh, nice. Mick, have I still got an Evo? Yeah, I got the Evo still, man. Same off the floor toughness as you. Yeah, man. If you're, I mean, I don't know if you got long arms, short arms, or whatever, but like you're probably built similar to me. Dude, upper back. Upper back, you have to just train your upper back like crazy. It's all in the upper back. That's how we need to fight that. Upper back, dude. You got to roll all the time. And, you know, recently made a video about pull-ups and rows and whatever. And, you know, I titled the video of pull-ups are overrated. And there's been a lot of like conversation about that. Like, how can you say that, blah, 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 blah. And a lot of people that were commenting I've never seen before as well. And the reason why I say this is because of that exact reason what you're talking about, like, you know, strength off the floor. You know, I used to be an anti-row guy, and all I did was pull-ups for many, many years. I found rows to be too disruptive to everything. They screw up your deadlift, they screw up your squat. Like, there's just very, very taxing exercise. Whereas pull-ups, you're hanging, and it just seems to be like restorative in every way. Your spine, your hips, the core feels good afterwards, shoulders, elbows, wrists, everything, you're hanging, like decompression. And plus you're getting this back workout, amazing. But as much as I did it, I never really felt strong. You know, I never really felt it carry over to anything. But when I started rowing, everything started improving, man. I've got multiple periods documented in my journal. The moment I started rowing and rowing with attention, heavy, as much volume as possible as a primary movement, the deadlift went up, the squat went up. Is just can't run around that, and I've reproduced that a few times now. So if you are, you know, finding it tough off the floor, consider that. Consider putting a lot more volume into rowing than you do pull-ups. You can do pull-ups still, but in my experience, I always went, well, if I don't believe something is helping me, why the hell am I doing it? Who am I trying to please? And so pull-ups for me have completely dropped off. When I think about back training, I think about rows. Chest supported rows, I've got the thing now, but like when I truly get into the rowing and squatting and deadlift period, I'm not in there currently, I'm benching right now, focused. When I get into those periods, barbell rows all the way, dude. Barbell rows, horizontal pulling. It's so much more beneficial. When I did that, my deadlift started to feel amazing off the floor. I started to feel, you know, real strength through the upper back. The pull-ups kind of give you this feeling of like, you know, you feel like you've trained, you feel like you've gotten bigger, but it doesn't feel like you're stronger. And I think that bent over pulling to your belly button really does something. It's strengthening and also, you know, hypertrophy at the same time. Whereas I feel like pull-ups, at least for me, they just give me hypertrophy, just non-usable hypertrophy. That's kind of how I've concluded it. And I'm somebody that absolutely loved pull-ups, man. One of my favorite exercises of all time growing up, and for the first bloody 10 years of training. I feel like what everyone else feels like, which is like, this is really good. Like you walk around with a wide back and whatever, but they never made me feel strong in a deadlift or a squat. But the moment I started doing rows, it was like noticeable, like right away. I'm like, damn, like, you know, this is really reinforcing that posture of like shoulders back and like contraction in the right plane. Whereas like with the pull-up always had me finishing like with the shrug position. And no matter how much I tried, like when I fatigue, I'll finish with my freaking shoulders next to my ears, which is like completely unpacked shoulders. Like this, I'll finish, I don't know if you can see it. Whereas rows is here. You see how like the shoulders drop when you're doing a row? As a pull-up, you're kind of finishing short. And I think that was the biggest reasons for me. And sure, it's a technical thing, you can fix it, but I never had any of those troubles with rows. I don't need to think about rowing, you know, and shoulders rising. It just doesn't happen. Shoulders rising in pull-ups all the time. And I think that's the reason why they never carried over to anything. For me, it's a teres minor, teres major exercise. It's not a lat exercise. That's kind of how I've concluded it, but obviously lots of different takes on something like this. Oh. Texas deadlift bar, nice, man. I don't have plates yet, but I'm walking into the gym. Nice. I bet you it looks from other gym goers, huh? Pragmatic Duck, what's up, brother? Did some more overhead barbell press today. Really concentrated on my glutes and quads to keep myself grounded. Far less lower back involvement. Cheers for the tip. Oh, good stuff, man. Good to hear that, man. Straight away feels better. Nice. Deficit pause deadlifts are insane. How well they work for me. There you go. Good job, man. I did the hyperextension 2 days ago with 40 kilos and some drop sets and still can't walk. Nice. Oh, sick, man. I love that. Dude, hyperextensions are such a basic exercise, man, but it's like the best. Literally trains everything. Everything that we need to feel strong, it trains it. It's amazing. I have been rowing lately and deadlift has improved. There you go, man. I recommend trying a period of doing deficit deadlifts with a pause. Just off the floor, 2-inch deficit. It helps me off the floor on my regular deadlift a ridiculous amount. There you go. You know, I tried the deficit pulls and I felt like what the deficit deadlifts were helping me with was purely because I could get more dorsiflexion, like I could get more legs involved. But when I went back to the normal position, I felt like that advantage was gone and I still kind of was missing. So I didn't really feel that much benefit from that because I just felt like, okay, cool. This feels amazing because the bar is lower and I can get more quads into it and more speed into the bar. But the moment I went back to the regular, I just felt like I was in square one. Like that advantage is gone and I can't use my quads anymore. So yeah, I don't know. I've heard a lot of people say if you suck off the floor, you should do rack pulls or block pulls. So like, you know, not a deficit, the opposite. I've seen people like, you know, talk about this as well. If you feel like you can't lock out, you do deficit pulls because it engages the lift longer and you gotta grind longer. I've heard that, you know, as well. So it's you hear all sorts of stuff from people, man, which is really interesting. I always find. Oh man, my hips feel like they're gonna rip. Deficit deadlift is my favorite deadlift variation. They grow my deadlifts a lot. There you go, Doug. You feel the same way as well. Rigor mortis Rex, hey man. Yeah, agreed. I hit 40,000 pull-ups in a year during COVID. Didn't carry over to full body power. There you go, Rex. I think, you know, that is the take-home message that I have as well. Like for me at least. Like obviously, like we share these ideas and we share some of our experiences, and it's up to the listener to work out whether that's a valid thing for them or not, because we all have different experiences and leverages and whatever. But for me, man, I've tried some crazy amounts of pull-ups in the past, man. Like even before this squat everyday period, I had periods where I was like greasing the groove pull-ups, like 3-4 times a day type shit, like completely overdosing on pull-ups, man. I've tried, you know, low frequency, high volume, like doing 100 pull-ups a session and then resting for a long time, and, you know, 200 and whatever, like all sorts of stuff. And love the feeling, love the invisible lat syndrome. Then you walk around the house like this, but it just didn't translate to me getting tighter. And I guess that's what I'm trying to say to you. When you're squatting and deadlifting, the whole idea is to get tight, not to get long. You know, the deadlift has you long. You're hanging there, which is great for muscle building, right? Cool. But what I'm after is I'm trying to get freaking tight. I'm trying to get really, really tight for the deadlift. I'm trying to make sure that I can hold this position so I can pull the bar off the floor. I feel like the deadlift doesn't train that really well. The pull-up doesn't train the aspect for the deadlift. So that's my experience. And you know, when I did the 180 AMRAP period, dude, the deadlift really, really prolonged that period for me, like in terms of the upper back and whatever, making me feel much more comfortable with the bar on my back. It was all the row, man. Row. So obviously it depends on what you're trying to get after, but you know, you always ask yourself, does this carry over? Like if you're interested in strength, the question is, does this carry over to what I'm trying to do? And if it doesn't, then my question is like, why are you doing it? Like, are you just doing it for the sake of hypertrophy, just because you want to be bigger? For me, I never kind of looked at it that way. I always looked at it, okay, I'm doing this for this very freaking reason. It's going to carry over to the deadlift. It's going to carry. And I feel like the row carries over to the bench press as well. Like I'm doing right now, rowing, you know, without the lower back. So like chest supported rowing for the bench press. I'll be doing the barbell row for the deadlift and the squat. So it's like, it's just row, constantly row. And I don't have to look around and you know, think really hard whether it carries over. I know it does. Whereas with the pull-up, man, I don't know, dude. Like, I'm not convinced. Not convinced at all. Alrighty, that's a nice little warm-up. My hips are broken now. Oh, goodness me. Oof. Damn. What am I turning on here? Let's turn this thing on. No, this. Oh. Old ass house, even the light doesn't work sometimes. He needs an encouragement. Oof. All right, fellas, let's go and do some squats now. I think that would be a good idea. Let's get a drink first, eh? All right, let's do some squat warm-up. Should I put you guys here? How about that? No, I'll put you guys here. Oh, jeez. Jeez Louise. Jeez Louise. I feel like pull-ups help me a lot with farmers carries. I feel like those TO complement each other well. Grip and forearm, as well as strong farmer carry posture. Yeah, fair enough, Pragmatic Duck. You know, if you feel like it's helping, you feel like it's getting you somewhere, you know, screw everything, dude. Like, keep doing it. Why would you listen to anyone else if you're feeling, you know, progress and carryover? It's the lack of posterior chain involvement which is the key for power, at least in my experience. Yeah, it could be. I found pull-ups help with upper body stuff like overhead or benching. No weight helps deadlift. Barbell rows or pendulum rows. Like pendulum rows more because you can really explode into every rep and seems to transfer better to the deadlift for me. Pendulum rows. What are pendulum rows? Pendulum rows. I don't think I know what that is. Here, let me look it up quickly. Pendulum rows. Let me just play this video quickly. Oh, okay. Are they called pendulum rows? There you go. All right, let's. Oh, I'm too close here. Oh. All right, fellas. Let's see how the squat we feel today. Alrighty. Alrighty. Pendulum pendlay rows. Yeah, that's what I got out of that video. Pendulum pendlay. Different goals means different roads to get there. I love listening to your methodology, even though we have such different goals. That's it, Pragmatic Duck. Couldn't have said it better myself, man. All of this stuff needs to be reverse engineered, man. You know, I imagine if you were like Olympic weightlifting, I'm just thinking out loud here, I haven't really given this much thought. If you're Olympic weightlifter, your sport finishes in an overhead position, it only makes sense to me then to spend more time doing vertical pulling, like pull-ups, chin-ups, that kind of thing. You know, wide pull-ups make sense because you're finishing a snatch in a wide position. All that stuff makes sense. Like, you know, if you're thinking about carryover, you always have to think about specificity. If the movement that you're trying to get to carry over is too different, it's probably not going to carry over. If it's similar in its kind of like joints used, muscles used, planes of motion, then it's probably going to carry it somewhat. And so, in my mind, overhead pressing and pull-ups kind of go hand in hand. Bench pressing and rowing go hand in hand. Rowing and deadlifting go hand in hand. Why is that? Well, when you deadlift, your hands are freaking by your side, man. They're not up here when you're deadlifting. You're deadlifting here. And what are you doing when you roll? Well, your hands are here and you're doing this. Like, it just makes sense to me that way. At least it appears to me to be logical. And so, very much so. Depends on the goals. Without a doubt. I've been getting an itch to go nuts on squats, man. I'm really keen to get after the squat, like real bad. I've been pushing the squat all year. I haven't done hard squatting for like 7 months. The first 3 spent with the groin injury. The next 3 or 4 spent with bench press. As soon as it starts to warm up a little bit, man, I'm gonna go nuts. Put that 180 on the bar again and try and really build into it and try and get that 15th rep, 14th rep and beyond. And it's been a long time since I did that, but I feel like if I'm gonna push my squat, that is the best way to push my squat. Really, really low volume and just insane intensity. All out squats. And you know, having the experience of last time, I kind of already know what I need to do as homework. I know I need to start rowing before I start doing that. And I've been doing rows. I've been doing rows from a bench press, chest supported, but even though like it's still upper back. And then when I start doing the squats, I'll go into barbell rows and do that as a main accessory, which is just funny, right? Like, but I can't wait. Josh says, working out with you from the USA, Van. Oh, respect, Josh. Good work, dude. What are you hitting today? This is always funny. I start doing each muscle 1 time a week. I can't argue. It's working well. Ivan uses high frequency, but for me, low frequency just works. There's nothing to say if it just works. That's it. If it works, man, end the conversation. Croc rows for me, yeah, so any single arm row, I'm very scared of. I've done multiple goes at it, and every time I do it, I get this feeling like I'm gonna freaking pop a hernia. And there's been a lot of people online who have spoken about this. Of all people, I remember watching one video from Athlete X, and he presented some ideas there which kind of like made sense to me. So sports hernias, inguinal hernias, umbilical hernias, for some reason, are really prevalent when you're rowing. I think it's that rotation. I think it's because one side is contracting, the other one isn't as much, and there's this imbalance of core activation, and then you're rowing heavy. And so I get this feeling, and you know, me working in the industry that I work, I've seen lots of hernias, inguinal and umbilical. When you start to feel that sensation of tearing, ripping, like even the slightest sensation, you have to stop. Otherwise, you're going to rip through that abdominal wall and you're going to have yourself a hernia. And so there's only 2 exercises that have ever kind of given me that little sensation, and it's always in the right groin. And the first thing is the rows. I've tried, I've never really tried croc rows, but I've tried like single with arm on the bench, leg on the bench. I've tried, you know, standing free and just rowing a dumbbell with my elbow on the knee. I've tried all sorts of different rowing, you know, a bit more upright, a bit more bent over, every single which way. I've always kind of felt it a little bit shitty. So that gives me a shitty feeling, and also rack pulls. So each of those exercises that I've ever done, every time I kind of get that sensation, then I go down the trend of, okay, fuck, I have to do something about this core of mine because of this exercise. And then I end up doing like a whole stack of these exercises, like suitcase carries, farmer's carries, you know, hip flexion, like sit-ups, leg raises, that kind of thing, just to combat that and kind of get that core re-engaged. And I've kind of concluded, like over the years, it's too risky. I don't like to do it for a long period of time. If I do like a 20 kilo dumbbell, I can do it and no troubles. But as soon as I start to kind of load that thing like I really want to, I start to get this feeling. And you know, once you pop a hernia, dude, like it's not a good idea, man. So I stay away from it. I feel like when I'm on 2 feet and I've got the weight in my hands, I never feel it. Like everything is balanced, cores, everything's perfect. Squats have never given me this feeling. Deadlifts, like, you know, I've even done like homemade, what's it called? When you walk out a squat and you go to the next squat rack, what's it called? Yoke walk? Yoke. I've done like a mini yoke where I had like the portable squat stands on one side and I'll walk through just to kind of overload the walking, you know. That didn't give me a feeling. I've done lots of different things, but those 2 things always give me trouble. So I'll stay away from that single arm business. I made my adductors so painfully sore doing one set of squats this week. Damn. Just one set? Must have been a hell of a set. Did you extend the garage? Not really. I didn't do anything to the garage other than clear the mess. And then I bought more gear. So I don't have any more space to extend the garage anymore. So this is it. I'll probably have to start trading pieces if I wanted. Like this whole area here, I don't know what I'm doing here. I've got another squat rack here, the portable squat rack, or the squat stands. This area here, for me, I've always kind of had it. Can you even see me here? You can't. It's kind of my ollie lifting area. This is where I do my overhead squats and my whatever, clean pulls, all that stuff that I can't really do properly. Because the way the roof is, like over here, it's a sloping roof, so it's high over here and low here. So I can't really do overhead pressing here. I'll end up hitting. So I need to do overhead. It's all, you work with the space you got, man. So over there, I need to do overhead pressing and overhead squats. Yeah, it's all over the place. Hey, Ivan, have you ever had low back pain? If so, how did you manage it? No, I've never had low back troubles, man. I've only had one incident where I really got scared with my lower back. That was years ago. And that was before I knew how to train at all. It was just me being a rookie muffin, an accident in the gym. And since then, basically changed the course of my training forever. Not that I was a serious trainer back then, but that lower back injury really sent me down the path of powerlifting and strength training in general. I wanted to make sure that I'll never be injuring my back ever again. This is why, like, I'm always tentative with squats and heavy deadlifts and whatever. Although deadlifts feel more natural to me, so I push them quite a bit harder. But yeah, injuries are the enemies. The lower back is a very frequently injured area. And so I've always kind of respected that, even though, you know, the main populace out there who view trainees, they're like, oh, you know, what's your bicep, what's your bench, you know, how do you look, your physique, your six pack and whatever. But for me, it's like, no, all of that stuff is all sexy and beautiful and we'll get some chats going. But for me, the lower back is the reason you train. Your core, lower back, like, well, I don't care about six packs and all that crap, like whatever. That's all a nice extra. You need to have a strong back. Without a strong back, you got nothing, man. So that's how much respect I place on it. Have you ever tried belt squat RDLs? I love those. They seem to hit the hamstring and lower back even better than barbell RDLs. I can go even deeper without the risk of lower back injury. That is interesting, my man. I've never tried it for sure. I'm just thinking, why would they feel better? Must be that rotational force that's anchored away from you. Interesting. I'll keep that in mind, Doug. Maybe down the track I'll try it. Interesting. That's what I love about these lives, man. I get so many ideas about everything. All right, I want to now give this a little bit of a go. Try this 180. And then, I don't know what I'll do. Today was supposed to be an easy session, so I'll just do some forearms. Heat them up a little bit. Then hopefully tomorrow I'll go crazy with bench. Bench has kind of been back. The other day I hit 2 sets of 23 and 1 set of 21. So I'm kind of back almost to my groove of benching. I feel like it's been 3 weeks since I've been sick. And still I can't get back to my routine of hitting 23s, multiple sets of 23s. Fucking sickness, man. All right, beautiful. So now, that's out of the way. All right. Put you guys here, eh? It's a nice little spot. I think it's a smaller grip, and plus it's a pulling you straight down rather than the bar that swings out sometimes. Yeah, okay. Makes sense, man. Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. Ivan, I'm plateaued at 110 for the past year at 58 kilos. I don't know, it's like almost a fair barrier for me. Any tips? You're 58 kilos, you're squatting 110. You're approaching 2 times body weight. That's where people usually get stuck. I don't know your body composition, I don't know your height and all the rest of it, but like I really recommend you to not be too afraid of putting weight on if that's at all an option for you. It's very, very hard to get strong without becoming a bit more fluffier. It's very hard, especially if you're interested in going beyond 2 times your body weight squat. It's very, very difficult. You're going to have to make a decision there. Obviously, that's not the only thing you can do. But without, having a bit more detailed chat, I don't really know what other elements we could talk about other than straight up for what you told me there. You're pretty light, man. Samuel, what's up, man? Hello. The man is an arm wrestler now. That's right. Working on rising. Kwan says need more blokes in the Australian arm wrestling. Ryan Bowen. You fellas know more about this than me. I don't know who Ryan Bowen is, but he looks like an arm wrestler. Oh man, freaking forearm destruction with this. What I find most interesting is that you could have the same weight, right? 10 kilos. If I took a 10 kilo dumbbell right now, I could probably freaking knock out 30 reps. Or whatever, more, I don't even know. But you put that shit on a rope, and you have that rope in like that riser position. Fucking hell, man. You can barely get 20 all out. 15 today is all I got. It's amazing how much it changes everything. Nuts says, you inspired me to train with your mindset. Oh, I appreciate that, dude. Thank you, man. Arm wrestling reminds me, have you guys seen that power slap stuff? Yeah, I saw that stuff. I have no idea how this type of shit ever gets popular, man. Like, talk about brain injury and, you know, what's it called? CTE, chronic traumatic encephalopathy. CTE, chronic, is it chronic? Chronic traumatic encephalopathy. It's that brain injury from all the freaking strikes. And these people are literally going into competition just to, like, you can't avoid it. At least in boxing, you can defend and you can, shield yourself and run around. Nah, this is, you're going to get slapped every single time you go. And full on, like knockout blows. Fucking hell, man. I really just think to myself, what are these people thinking? Strange. Sam says 25 deadlift is a lot of work. Well done. Thank you, Sam. Appreciate that, man. Fat says the exercise you are doing is called a riser curl in arm wrestling. Yeah, that's what I write down in the journal. Rise curl. That's what I put. I love it, dude. It's absolutely amazing. And obviously my inspiration to get into arm wrestling was a little bit different. I didn't get into it because of arm wrestling. I got it into because I was in a bit of a freaking mess with my elbows. And I tried everything, and then I started doing some of these exercises, like I mentioned in the past, the arm wrestling stuff, and fucking hell, man, straight away started feeling better. So since then, I'm like, every little bit, I'm like, even if you don't want to train heavy or hard, like, squats or deadlifts or bench press, you can always come out here and do freaking rising deadlifts, curls. It's easy. It seems like it's easy, but it's so good for the forearms. Big boy, dude. Not gonna tolerate that shit, dude. Either you say something more creative, something a bit more acceptable, or I'm gonna boot you off, man. I don't know if you're trying to. What are you trying to do here, dude? Oh man, that is brutality. Holy shit. Oh my God. Oh my God, dude. 20 reps with 60 kilos. Dude, is that with both arms or just one? Is that a like 2-arm exercise or just on one arm 60 kilos? Surely not, huh? 20 reps? The fuck is that? One arm. What the fuck is that? Holy shit. And like we're talking like full extension all the way down. My goodness me. That's like a 300 kilo squat, surely. That's equivalent, isn't it? A 60 kilo fucking riser curl. That must be like a 300 kilo deadlift, surely. I'm sure that shit takes 15 years, 20 years. Catalin, are you training only at home now? Yeah, pretty much. I think my last gym session was in January, I want to say. All my stuff has expired at the gym, like my membership and all that stuff. I haven't been back in a long while. It wasn't my intention either, like it's just kind of dropped off. You know, the school year started for the kids. And I fell into that routine, you know, blah, 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 blah. And time became more precious than before, somehow. And yeah, I just kind of stopped going. I think that the biggest reason for me to go back would be, like in December, for me to go back for the leg press. The leg press is there that I don't have here, and I don't have a deadlift bar. Those two things were amazing last year. It really meant a lot in my training. Everything else I pretty much, and the hack squat. I don't have the hack squat either. Everything else, I'm pretty okay at home now. I've got that incline row machine. That's amazing. I've got the hip adduction. That's amazing. So I don't really have a reason to go back other than seeing some of the lads there, obviously. Seeing the fellas there would be cool. But the gym that I went to is now in a lot of trouble. I don't know if some of you guys are from Adelaide, if you've heard. The place that I was going to, Derrimut, seems to be in a bit of trouble. I don't really know the intricacies, but the owner blew up. That gym is like not very old. Like he became essentially Australia-wide during COVID. And he really changed the game, man. Like he had crazy cheap memberships and amazing equipment. You guys saw the gyms that I was going to. Amazing. And like $150 Australian to have a full year membership. Anyway, fast forward until now, apparently he hasn't paid something like $11 million worth of tax. And there's all these lawsuits going on, blah, 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 blah. So apparently he's in trouble. Like a lot of the gyms are not 24/7 anymore. A lot of the gyms are not maintained well. You know, there's a lot of broken equipment. And so a couple of changes there, and a lot of people have kind of left. So some of the fellas that I used to go to the gym with, they've kind of left and gone to a different place. And that kind of has also taken the wind out of my sails as well. Not that I'm dedicated to any gym. It's just, I really like the layout of the other gym, the colors of the lighting, the colors of the plates, all that stuff. And now this competitor gym, Revo, who's kind of taking all of the clients, it's still, you know, same proximity to me, but it's just, I don't know, it's different. So yeah, a few changes, also me changing here. It's all kind of equated to me not going to the gym at all. think this is set number 4. Is this set number 4? Fucking hell, man. Never can count. Between 3 and 4, I can't count. Oh. I think that's 4, has to be 4, surely. Where are we? Arm wrestling specialist. Bicep strength is underrated. I think so as well, Doug. Absolutely. And the other thing about it is I don't know. There's all this traditional, bicep training, which for some reason it just never really turned me on, man. Don't know. But like doing a little arm wrestling stuff really does excite me. It's interesting, and I like it. And it keeps calling me back. The funny thing is, in the last week or 2 that I've been doing some of this hammer work and arm wrestling stuff, shower my kid, whatever, carrying the 2-year-old around, I've got more endurance. I'm stronger now. I can tolerate him a little easier. It's so interesting how you said that bicep strength is underrated. Like, it is absolutely underrated. Like, you think about everything we do is to the bicep, man. Anything you carry, anything, like everything is bicep related in the upper body if you're carrying and working. So sure, the lower back and hamstrings and glutes, obviously we've beaten that thing to death in terms of how important that part of the body is. But, something that I didn't appreciate until I got injured is the wrist and elbow and shoulder essentially. But for me, it was the elbow that was really, concerning me. And then when I started, deep diving into the whole elbow, golfers, tennis elbow, all of that stuff, I started to kind of like realize that a lot of that stuff is either caused above the joint or below the joint. And for me, it worked out to be below the joint. And so when I started working on this arm wrestling stuff, pronation, supination, rising, that kind of stuff, I started to really feel the benefits, and my elbows started to feel good, and the bench press started flying. It's interesting. I'm not going to sit here and say, do pronation, your bench press will blow up. But if the elbow is hurting, maybe some of these structures below the elbow are holding you back from getting more volume into the bench press. And so all of this stuff is kind of like related. And you might not be excited primarily about that one thing, but you might fall into it like me. And so now I'm kind of like getting these freaking juicy forearms, and I'm looking at the forearms and they're feeling out, more veiny, and my hands seem to be getting like thicker from all the pronation work. I'm like, damn, like my hands have definitely changed how they look. And I'm only doing this as a secondary bloody thing, but because they can tolerate so much volume, smashing them with so much freaking volume, every day I've got a pump in my freaking radiobrachialis or brachioradialis, whatever the freaking it's called. I always get that muscle wrong. The flexors, they're all getting pumped up, and because of that, the elbows feel good, and the bench press, I can start thinking a lot more volume in the bench press. And I'm like, fuck, it's just interesting how it's all come around. But if you told me just do bicep curls, the bicep curls never gave me that forearm explosion. And so even though I was trying to train bicep curls when my elbows were giving me trouble, I didn't get that relief, that pain relief from that golfer's elbow that I had in the medial aspect of the elbow, right in the elbow joint. Dude, that was so bad for me at one point. Every morning I'd like think about how to open up the kitchen drawer so I can get a freaking knife out of the bloody thing. Like in the mornings it was terrible. And then I started doing Man, I'll never forget when I started doing pronation. Like literally got that strap, stuck it around my thumb, and I'm like, I remember doing the 4th or 5th rep, and I was like, oh my god! It was like, you know, that pain where it's like it hurts, but it hurts so good. It was that sensation, like somebody massaging you. It was that. Fucking instantly, I felt relief, man. Instantly, I was like, fucking, this is it. Fucking must have done 30 sets that day, man. It was amazing, and ever since then, I didn't look back. So it's not just the biceps, it's also like the forearm, how that controls the hand, and how that also impacts the elbow, and obviously it just goes upstream, obviously. I'm guessing if you have if you have shoulder trouble, maybe you look below the joint, maybe you have some sort of bicep tightness, or maybe tricep or something, I don't know, I'm just kind of talking from the top of my head now, but it's just interesting how it's all kind of related. And so when you say bicep work is absolutely important, absolutely it is important. But not because I sought that out. It's because pain led me to it. It was just interesting how you end up in certain positions. Arm wrestlers do a lot of partials. Yeah, I've seen a lot of that as well. Such a wild sport where some of the best guys are in their 50s and 60s. There you go. And like, you know, it might not sound sexy enough to blokes that are 20, but me being 36 now, I'm like, that is something really cool that I'd love to get into. You know, like it's like a nice progression. And it's really weird how it always just pans out that way. Like no matter who you are, where you are, and how old you are, there's always something that you can kind of go into, right? So maybe you're a bodybuilder in your 20s, maybe you're going to powerlifting in 30s, or maybe it's the other way around or whatever, and then in your 40s, maybe you do arm wrestling. In the 50s, I don't know what else, you go into cycling, I don't really know. But you know, it doesn't really matter what you do, it's just as long as you do something, and there's always benefits in that activity. It's just really cool, isn't it? Yeah. All right, I reckon I'll come back to that. Let me just hit this a bit more now. All right, do some hips. The funny thing about this type of exercise where you get a huge pump is the pump ends up limiting you. You can't bloody do any more work because the pump is so huge. Give it like 10, 15, 20 minutes rest. You come back, you can do even more work. It's funny how that works. I did 50s over there. Yeah, I did. Let's do 5 sets of 50 here as well. Yeah, $150 for a bloody gym membership is amazing. Um, 60 kilos for 20 is cap. Levan did 70 for 1. Yeah. I feel like biceps are so underrated for general strength. If you think about it, they're super important for lifting and fighting. Oh yeah, Doug, absolutely, I see it. Daniel, what's happening, man? That's a strong too. Farmers, yeah, yep. Farmers are like hands and arms, like it's all here, you know. My goal is to buy those adjustable 45 kilo dumbbells and start hammering daily curls. Doug, yeah, good idea. I don't even think you need 45 kilo dumbbells, to be honest with you, man. I've got a 20 kilo dumbbell here, a pair of 20s, a pair of 5s, and a pair of 10s. And honestly, like 20s are too heavy. I feel like if you're gonna go real heavy with bicep curls, make it a barbell and fucking crank it that way. I don't think you need to do singles with that heavy weight. Unless you really have endless resources and you just want to have shit around. That's all well and good. You can definitely do that as well. My goal, I remember one arm wrestler. I arm wrestled a retired arm wrestler. It's a strange feeling. I've won about every arm wrestler in my life. That guy wasn't moving at all. Yeah, I bet, man. Because it's that conditioned freaking tendons and all that shit. Yeah. The worst thing about this fucking exercise is you squash your nuts every time. Kathleen says, I asked about the gym because I missed a lot of your videos since December. My algo on YouTube went crazy by watching a lot of politics stuff from here in Romania. Oh, okay. There you go. The algo does that. You're right, Ivan. Imagining back in the day, laboring, use your bicep for everything. Digging, carrying stuff, lifting stuff, wrestling, you name it. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, think about it, like you couldn't do anything without it. If you think about it, let me just think about this for a sec. I wanted to say, biceps are way more useful than triceps. And I know that's kind of like a whatever shitty thing to say. But we are, as a human being, more likely to pick stuff up than to push it. I mean, when do we push anything other than fighting? You know, unless you're loading something overhead and you're going to push something up. But, you know, I guess it depends on the circumstance. But I find pulling in general or carrying is much more prevalent, you know, everyday life than pushing something. Doug says, I do pronation work in a rice bucket now and helps with elbow pain. You basically dig your open hand into the rice and twist pronate it and do that for 200 reps or something. Oh shit. Okay, so you're opening and closing constantly. Yeah, I've seen the rice bucket. I've seen that a few times. I remember when I was digging around for my elbow pain, that was a consideration as well. Nut says, I'm 41, North Queensland. Todd Hutchins is 56-year-old arm wrestler. He literally has the world title in the 95 kilo weight class. Wow. And it's competitive too. Doug says, yeah, if you look at the body composition of wrestlers and grapplers, you can clearly see that they have a thick back, defined biceps, but quite small pecs and triceps. Yeah, it makes sense as well. Makes sense to me. It's interesting for me, you know, I've always had this bias in my body, like, you know, I've lived with my body for many years now, obviously, and I've done lots of sports and stuff, and you kind of develop the tendencies that you have. Obviously, I'm a natural puller, even though my arms are short and whatever. I just feel comfortable in a deadlift position, an ideal position. That's just comfort. You know, I even get into that position when I'm squatting. And the other thing is like biceps. I've got this tendency for biceps as well. When I'm doing pull-ups, lots of biceps, which is why I don't like pull-ups, because it ends up being a lot of biceps. Whether I go wide or narrow, whichever way. It's just interesting. It's, you know, this is the thing. There's endless amount of rabbit holes that you can kind of go down to kind of dig all this stuff up and trial all these different things. It just depends on where your motivations are and what you really want to pursue and what the goals are. But, you know, you could start off thinking about the bench press and end up freaking doing a whole stack of arm wrestling exercises like me, you know. Or you could freaking, I don't know, interested in sprinting faster times, and all of a sudden you're squatting and deadlifting like a maniac. People come from all sorts of different directions into this, you know, training world. And the whole idea is to pick and choose what really makes sense for you. You know, I've taken stuff from the sprinting world with the hip flexor training. I've taken stuff from the arm wrestling world. I've taken stuff from the basketball world with the high frequency idea, which kind of like I met up with the Bulgarians. You know, basketball is trained every single day, man. Like you're shooting 1,000 free throws every single day, that kind of thing, you know. And so like you take all of that, all of the experiences, you kind of roll it into something that makes sense to you. And it doesn't have to make sense to everyone because your goals are your own. I saw one guy, man, I don't know if you guys seen him on social media. Somebody brought it up the other day as well at work. They were like, have you seen that dude that trains one trap? He's just training one trap and his whole fucking body is deformed. Like I'm sure he's got scoliosis or something. Like he's literally, he looks like somebody from like Lord of the Rings, like one of those freaking orcs or something. The dude literally looks deformed. What leads somebody to go down the path of training one side of your body, I'm not sure, but that, you know, he's done that and he's got this freaking huge trap. I can't remember which side it is. And it's just interesting to see a human being make that decision. You know, it's like, what the hell? Since when do you benefit from having one side stronger than the other? That much. Oh, let's pull the nuts out. Let's do another set here. Whew. Oh. Oh man. Calcium, what's happening, man? How are you, dude? Yeah, that'll do, mate. That'll do. Let's do the other part of the hip and then we'll do some more arm wrestling action. Oh. All right. All right, partner. All right. The best way to finish the day is in the long position. Oh. Very weird idea, Ivan. Sumo RDLs, even deficit. Sumo RDLs. I don't know. putting a stance in a wide position and doing the top portion of it like an RDL is will make it a lot of quad, wouldn't it? Ends up being just a freaking leg press. That's the feeling that I have right now thinking about this. It's not going to be hamstrings. I mean, if you're interested in lockout, sure. I mean, the reason why people do RDLs is for the hamstrings and the glutes. If you're doing sumo, then you're really, really upright, and then I don't know if you get the benefit from the posterior side. Yeah, I don't know. I have a feeling Louis Simmons talked about something about sumo or stiff-legged sumo. That's right. Louis Simmons was a big fan of stiff-legged sumo deadlifts. But RDLs, I'm not sure. Would it be a good idea for me to only do single-legged exercises for a while? I have basically no internal rotation, a lot of external rotation. Doing lunges makes me feel more athletic. Calcium, and that is spot on. That's exactly why you feel more athletic when you do single-leg stuff, because that's what athleticism is. It's off of one foot. If you lose that 1 foot ability, then you start to feel really limited in your athletic performance. Internal rotation is absolutely going to get trained with one leg. Squats, lunges, split squats, all that stuff. That's where you're going to feel that internal rotation start to come back in. Yeah, you could definitely give it a trial to regain that internal rotation. Will it miraculously make you squat better and deadlift better? I'm not sure. It depends. Yeah, because the thing that the one leg exercises miss out on is the core activation. So when you're doing squats and deadlifts, there's a lot of weight on the bar and a lot of core. When you start to do one leg, the weight drops significantly, and through that function, you lose a lot of that core training, core stability requirement. So when let's say you build up these amazing single leg exercises, you bring up all that stuff up. When you go back to the bilateral stuff, you might be still where you are when you left off because of that core. And so as long as you train the core in some way as well, you might be able to survive all that without training any bilateral stuff. I'm not sure I would do that if I was interested in squats and deadlifts, just completely drop off all the bilateral stuff. But if you're interested in athletic performance, and that's your number one goal, I really feel like, I don't know how much you gain out of having no internal rotation. So going back into that internal rotation world, I think would benefit you heaps. All right, that is done. Now let me hit back. Turn you guys around. I'll finish off with more arm wrestling stuff. Good lean on. Switch over here. the fuck? All of a sudden, this is easy. Yeah, that's easy. I need to go up. Let's go 31. Oh yeah, the left is definitely weaker. Oh, fuck. Blew my mind. That's interesting, for real. I don't know. Dorian Yates did leg press, so speaks for it. I'm thinking reverse cable sumo RDLs. Reverse cable sumo RDLs. Shit, I can't even imagine that. What is that? Reverse sumo. Yeah, you lost me there, man. I don't know what that means. Home gym physique. Get some oil on that machine, Ivan. I know. The hip adduction. Man, I've sprayed so much freaking oil all over that shit. I don't know what. It's a chain. It's not a. These are old school machines, so it's a chain. It's not a cable. So underneath the seat, it's a chain that runs around, and I've sprayed so much freaking WD-40 over it, and it still squeaks. I don't know where to pour it anymore. That machine sounded like a. I love your real talk about fat people when they waddle. Oh God. So a lot of these things, you know, when I talk about some of these sensitive topics, you know, I express how I feel in these videos, what's going through my mind. And a lot of people are like, oh my God, Ivan goes around and attacks people. No, I'm just telling you how I feel about the situation. What goes through my mind when I hear somebody say 2/3 of the world is overweight. You know, what goes through my mind. And I think a lot of people have the same thoughts. It's just not many are willing enough to speak those thoughts out. And then, you know, you get labeled as a fat shamer and blah, 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 blah. But whatever. Ever see the girl exercise cable hip thrust? Like that, but pull diagonal. I don't know, just spit balling. Seems I can get weight diagonally is what I mean. Oh, diagonally weight. Oh, right. I'm with you. Yeah. Okay, I don't understand what you mean. It's kind of like that cable RDL, where the cable is behind you. Once again, I remember Louis Simmons talking about that is great for the deadlift finish. No, you're good about opinions. Ivan only attacks people who do not press like on his streams. Oh, goodness. What's your opinion about the 600-pound guys? Oh, guys or girls, man. It's all the same. I'm very much against obesity and the acceptance of it. That's, in a nutshell, what I'm about. I hate hearing people making it seem okay that somebody's 600 pounds. That boils my blood, dude. It really freaking boils my blood. When I hear somebody sitting around and saying, yeah, you know, obesity is fine, you know, we can be healthy at whatever kilos, you know. It's like, what I hear when I hear that is somebody sitting there explaining to me how smoking can be healthy. All that is BS, man. I can't fucking handle it, honestly. But super deep. Yeah, for sure. Go super deep. The deeper the better, I suppose, you know, in terms of the length of the hamstring and the glutes. Yeah. Oh, so this is 31 now. All right, let's feel on. All right. Oh man, that is incredible. Oh my God, that is amazing. Super. It's funny when they can't breathe. What are your most extreme encounters with fat people in real life? Max, it's not about that, dude. It's not about extreme encounters or anything like that. It's not about encounters or not. It's what I'm saying is 2/3 of the globe is overweight. There's no encounters, man. It's you know, people are overweight everywhere you go. 2/3 of Australia and America as well, overweight. So I see it all the time, you know, and so I spend so much time of my life thinking about how to improve in the gym and training and whatever, and then I go to work and I think about health and how all that ties in. And then I go into the public and see my patients and I see shops and you know, just the general public, go to the beach. You know, wherever I go, I see so much obesity, you know. And then I turn on the news and I turn on some of these programs and there's people there making it seem like it's okay. And I'm like, that's not what I'm seeing, man. That's not what I'm seeing from the hospital perspective, you know. So that's what motivated me to speak out about these things. And it came up in one of the chats with one of the fellas on the live. You know, somebody asked me something about like, you know, how would you approach, what do you think about obesity? What do you think about overweight? Blah, 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 blah. And that kind of triggered the whole conversation. And I gave my 2 cents on it. It's an absolute emergency in terms of like, you know, public health. And all these people that are making it seem like it's okay, they have no idea what they're talking about. From a health perspective, from a hospital perspective, they've got no idea. And so, but you can see by the comments, the amount of people that have like reacted negatively to it, talking about fat shaming and whatever, you know. So it's weird, like, you know, you speak up about something you believe in terms of health, and then always the counter argument is like, you're being a bully, you need to be careful with the mental health. And I'm like, okay, so mental health versus general health. So how do I get somebody to improve their general health, physical health, without telling them they have a problem? Okay, so you know, this chat is never going to be a positive one. I can't tell you, you are so fit and healthy, oh my God, like you look beautiful. By the way, you lose 50 kilos. Doesn't work. But in today's society, like you can't tell anybody anything. You know, if you give somebody criticism, it's bullying, straight to HR. If you give somebody an honest opinion, it's mental health, it's this, that, the other. And that's the environment we live in now, and that's unfortunate. And you saw the comments, you know, fat shamer, you're this, you're that, blah, 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 you can't say this, you can't say that. All right, man. But we can't tell somebody to walk outside onto the street to smoke. You know, you're not allowed to smoke on hospital grounds. You're not allowed to smoke on any freaking public, you know, event grounds. You can't smoke. You need to go outside onto the main road out there. It's almost like a shame, road of shame. All the smokers are on the street. But people eating, you know, double quarter pounders and big Cokes at McDonald's and big fries and seeing them eat all of that, oh no, you can't say anything to them. It's like, really? So we care about health, about the smokers, but we can't tell the person that is eating very unhealthy and is already at obese, morbid obesity size, you can't tell them to stop eating. But you can stop somebody that's smoking. You can stop them from smoking, kill them onto the street. This is where the struggle for me mentally is. I'm like, so how do we care about this and not that? Like, where is the disconnect here? But, you know, seems like one problem is more severe than the other. So they claim. I don't know. To me, all of this stuff is a mystery. And but we live in this type of world where, you know, you can't say anything to anyone. Pragmatic Duck says, I've been a bariatric patient who required multiple ambulances, fire trucks and police to extricate them from the house. I've been to bariatric for sure. Doors needed to be removed in order to feed out of the transport. There you go. Yeah, I've heard stories like this as well. Pretty extreme. How would you train if you had to have one of your wrists fused? Oh, God. I don't know. I don't know, man. Calcium, I don't really know what to say about that. Fused wrist. Shit, I've never even heard of that, man. Damn. Wow. I've never heard of that, man. Now that I'm about to do my wrist skills, thinking about fusion. Oh, that is some good shit. Oh, man, that kills the forearms. Holy shit. And now this is gonna stretch it. Oh yeah, the grip is giving up. I reckon I'll do one more set of those. And I reckon the forearms are done. It's pathetic. I love to call out BS online. As soon as you do, all the trolls gather, but they shut up very quickly when you have a coherent argument and don't back down. You know, Doug, maybe some of you boys have noticed that I haven't been really active on those comments when a lot of arguments are happening, because sometimes like I read a comment and I'm like, yeah, that bloke didn't watch the video. You know, they'll accuse me of something that I said in the first minute without watching the explanation. And so when I see a criticism and I feel like they haven't watched the video, there's no point replying. There's no point. Like, why should I bother reading your comment when you don't bother watching the video? So like, you know, there's no point talking past each other. Somebody that's not willing to listen, he's probably not going to be caring about what you have to say. And that's the thing about, you know, constructive discussions, debates. I love a good debate. I have people at work that I debate about all sorts of issues, and there's no emotion. There's no emotion at all. Like, there's one particular lady, we talk about, like, we've got some different views about, you know, she's taught me so much, I've taught her so much, blah, blah, blah. We talk about all this stuff. But I actually messaged her the other night. I said to her, I love talking to you because there is no emotion. It is purely intellectual, two intellectuals discussing a topic. You could be vehemently disagreeing, but there is no emotion. It's just two minds exchanging information, exchanging ideas. I welcome that. I purely welcome that. But you don't get that online. Rarely do you get that online. Obviously, there's a few of you fellas that I love talking to, and it's not emotional, it's just purely intellect. It's two intellects discussing. I love that. Because that allows two people to find a common ground. Maybe some person will learn something, maybe I'll learn something, you know, that kind of stuff. But when I see insults, when I see belittling on there and whatever, I just get turned off. Even though some of my videos, I'm expressing emotion about a certain topic, I have not highlighted anyone in particular. I haven't bullied anybody. And so people come at me with heaps of emotion. People go like into my DMs and start abusing me and saying some really vile things. And I'm like, okay, no worries. I'm never going to go back at you and try and, you know, have this argument with you. Because it's uneven ground, right? Like, you know who I am. You know what I stand for. You know a lot of things about me. I don't even know your name. You're just a freaking username on YouTube. And you want an equal battle. That's not something I'm willing to engage in, especially when there's emotion around. There's absolutely no benefit for me. And so usually I'm very, very active in the comments, but in recent time, there's absolutely no point. You know, for the fellas that are on here, you know, I'll continue to talk and exchange ideas. I love this. The live streams are awesome. I really get a lot out of them. But the comments and maybe some of these videos that I've posted recently, yeah, flashy titles, probably hooky titles. I get all of that. And because there's no squat every day in front of that, I feel like it's gone outside my usual circle. And so people have never seen me before. They don't know who I am. And then they're like, who the hell is this guy talking about? Fat shaming. Fuck him. Let's attack him. And so they're coming from never seeing me before to this idea. They don't even watch my video. And then all this barrage of like ideas and emotion comes my way. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to waste my time. There's no point. But in terms of like proper debate, like you're saying, you know, a coherent argument, man, that is beautiful for me, man. I love that stuff. In fact, with my mates, I call that couching. We literally sit around and we talk about religion. Oh, no topic. We talk about politics. We talk about ideologies, communism, capitalism. We talk about fascism. We talk about World War II, World War I, Alexander the Great. We talk about the NBA. We talk about Abrahamic religions, which one's worse, which one's better, the history, the crusades, the jihads, like all this stuff we talk about. We're not experts, but since when do you have to have a PhD in an area to speak your opinion? Why do you need a PhD to speak? I don't understand that. You're talking and you're discussing a topic, and that discussion is going to bring more light to that topic and hopefully more life again from people. And, you know, there's discussion. And since when is discussion negative? What should we just be in our little shells and not talk about anything? So all those people that are like, you shouldn't be talking, stick to squatting. Really, dude? So all I do in my life is squat. Like, there's nothing else going on in my life. I've seen nothing else in my life. I've experienced nothing else in my life. My opinion is worth nothing unless I have a PhD. Really? So nobody in the world can say anything to anyone, basically. That makes no sense to me. Calcium says we need to ban eating in public places. Hey, Van, I have a question for you. Chrissy says, hey, Van, oh, hold on, where am I? Sorry for the spam. What's going on? Cheers for the live, Van. I'm off. See you, Pragmatic Duck. You're a net positive for all of us. Thank you, Duck. Appreciate it, man. Mr. Chrissy says, you're definitely doing the right thing. Oh, hold on. I'm 180 kilos. I'm overweight but not obese. I have a good amount of muscle but fat too. And every morning when I wake up, I feel tired no matter how much I've slept. Could this be sleep apnea? Very much so, man. I'm currently losing weight, so hopefully I'm doing the right thing. Without a doubt, you're doing the right thing. And well done for that, dude. Dude, there's nothing more inspiring for me than having a person that is overweight or underweight or whatever, and they're fighting. They're actively trying to do their best effort. And that's really what it comes down to. Are you putting effort into this? You're putting a lot of effort in, and that to me is a beautiful thing, man. So well done on that, man. I used to watch your videos daily, but for one reason or another, I haven't in probably around a year or two. That's fine, dude. Life happens. Your content has changed a bit since I've last been here, but I'm glad you're still going, so congrats. Appreciate that, man. I just sprained my ankle, my second ankle in the past 7 months, and I don't plan on taking another month off for this one. I'd like to stay consistent, and I was looking to start a channel similar to yours, with the main goal in mind to track my progress and stay consistent. Any advice on how do you usually voice over your videos? Oh, okay. Man, nothing special. I've built my channel off of the iPhone. There's a stock app called iMovie on it. I record my videos on there. I use that app on there. I do my voiceovers on there, and that's it. Basically, it's super low tech. I just use my phone. I've gone up to the subscribers that you see now purely on that. I'm just sharing a journey through this. I don't have any fancy equipment. The only thing I have now is the microphones. And that is it, dude. You don't need anything. You just need your authentic self to share your journey, and you'll be on your merry way, man. Nah, don't be sorry for the spam. Just get started. Start uploading. Share your journey. People will take interest, and people will, become invested in your journey as an inspiration, and your consistency will inspire somebody else. And that's how this works. Everyone tries their best. And when people see you struggling, see you putting effort forth, it will no doubtedly inspire somebody as well. And that's what it's about, dude. That's what this whole thing should be about anyway. Oh my God, that stuff. Oh my God, I feel like my forearms are gonna freaking literally blow up. That is brutality, man. Holy shit, what a forearm workout. All right. Cubensis. Hello, hello. Every morning I think to myself, how can I make the world a worse place? When do we have a... Thank you, man. Your words mean a lot. Thank you, I appreciate it a ton. Harvey James, you watched Squid Game, Ivan? I've seen it in the past, yeah. A few years ago, I feel like. All right, boys, this is it. Enough from me tonight. I'll catch you guys same time tomorrow, hopefully. Yeah, same time tomorrow, hopefully. Do some benching and some back work. Yeah, I'll see if I can bench tomorrow. I feel like I've smashed my forearms a lot today. Hopefully they feel good tomorrow for benching. But yeah, anyway, boys, appreciate it like always. Calcium, Harvey, legends. Thank you for chilling out with me like always. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow, huh? Same time, same place. It's pretty much same exercises. And we'll go from there. Appreciate you guys. Have a good one. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.